Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for the Dr. Martin Luther King Holiday Commission celebration of the life and legacy of Dr. King. My name is Tracy Williams, and I am fortunate to serve as this year's chairman. The goal of the commission is to create activities in Howard County that promote Dr. King's philosophies on equality, peace, and unity. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of the commissioners who served this year. I am grateful for your commitment to creating virtual programs and virtual service activities. I'd like to thank our Day of Service chairman for developing outstanding opportunities that allow us to still serve during the pandemic. Thank you to the Howard County Conservancy for allowing us to film at your beautiful facility. I'd like to also recognize Ben Fordham for his patience during filming and for creating this amazing virtual show. Last but not least, I would like to thank the Howard County Office of Human Rights and Equity for their support throughout this process. Yolanda Sonier, Administrator, and Heidi Tilkins, Administrative Technician, thank you for making this an amazing experience for us. So thank you all for joining us. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the annual Dr. Martin Luther King Holiday Celebration. I am Aaliyah Evans, Howard County resident and a 10th grade student at Baltimore School for the Arts. I will be serving as your Master of Ceremony for today's event. We will now stand for the National Anthem sung by Jeremy Howard, a 9th grade student at Oakland Mills High School.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Jeremy. Great job. Next, the invocation will be delivered by Pastor Ricky Harvey, youth pastor at St. John Baptist Church.
Hello, everyone. I'm Reverend Ricky Harvey Jr. from St. John Baptist Church here in Columbia, and I have been so inspired in our time of sharing today. And I'm reminded of the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who says that if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. And I hope that our time of sharing today has inspired you to move forward in the work of spreading love and hope in the world we live in. It's my task to say a word of benediction for us. Would you bow for a word of prayer? God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who has brought us thus far on the way, thank you for this time of sharing and exchange that we have had virtually. Now may the strength of God sustain us. May the power of God preserve us. May the hands of God protect us. May the way of God direct us. May the love of God go with us this day and forevermore. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Ricky, for that inspirational prayer. Sit back, relax, and prepare yourself for our next performer, Jasmine Sierra Haynes. Jasmine is a pianist and will perform A Ribbon in the Sky by Stevie Wonder.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Haynes. I go to Glenelg Country School, and this is my rendition of Stevie Wonder's Ribbon in the Sky, commemorated to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his service.
Thank you, Jasmine. That was amazing. Alex Horn is our next presenter. He's a student at Wild Lake High School and will be introducing our Honorable County Executive.
It is my pleasure to introduce our County Executive, Dr. Calvin Ball. Dr. Ball is an alumnus of Towson University, the University of Baltimore, and he earned his doctorate from Morgan State University. Prior to being elected County Executive in 2018, Dr. Ball served District 2 as County Councilman for 3 terms, making history in 2006 when he became the youngest person elected as County Council Chairperson. Dr. Ball is a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. County Executive Ball.
Greetings and Happy New Year. The Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday on January 18, 2021 is the 26th anniversary of the Day of Service that celebrates the civil rights leader's life and legacy. It is the only federal holiday designated as a national day of service to encourage all of us to actively work to improve our communities. The theme for this year's celebration is, in the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Dr. King was a tireless activist who deeply valued the meaningful change that committed individuals can make when we work toward good. While Dr. King was not afraid to speak truth to power, he was also not too proud to consensus build with those same decision makers to accomplish the mission. To help fully honor Dr. King, his legacy, and the movement that he gave his life for, let's continue to challenge and break barriers. Each year, our Martin Luther King Jr. Holiday Commission develops programming to honor and celebrate Dr. King's legacy. This year, the celebration and events look different. However, while we are staying COVID safe, Howard County and the Commission have continued the tradition of celebrating Dr. King by highlighting young people in our community who understand, appreciate, and live by the foundation that Dr. King built during his lifetime. Congratulations to all of the winners for your accomplishments and your dedication to improving Howard County. I also am honored to acknowledge and thank all of the students who took the time to participate in either the essay, poster, or oratory contest. Thank you to the Commission, including Chair Tracy Williams and Vice Chair Bert Hash, for the countless hours ensuring success of this virtual celebration and our day of service. Don't view this important day as simply a day off. I encourage you to live in Dr. King's legacy and think of it as a day to serve those in your neighborhood and our broader community here in Howard County. I look forward to your continued engagement and service in Dr. King's memory as we make sure his legacy remains timeless.
Thank you, Dr. Ball. It's always a pleasure to hear from you and see you. Jordan Dumas is a senior at Oakland Mills High School. She will be performing a dance to Still I Rise by Maya Angelou.
You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Just 'cause I walk as if I have oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like suns and like moons, with the certainty of times, just like hope springing high, still I rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eye, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my sassiness upset you? Don't take it so hard just 'cause I laugh, as if I have gold mines digging in my own backyard. You can shoot me with your words, you can cut me with your lies, you can kill me with your hatefulness, but just like life, I'll rise. Does my sexiness offend you? Oh. Does it come as a surprise that I dance as if I have diamonds at the meeting of my thighs?
Not as a prophet, but as a humble servant. Fuck you.
Out of the huts of history's shame I rise. Up from a past rooted in pain I rise. A black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak miraculously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave.
What immediate results do you hope to achieve?
So,
We hope to achieve
naturally,
equal rights for every human being in the world.
I'll rise. I'll rise. I'll rise.
Hi, Mrs. Martin. Dr. Diane Martin will now present the winners of the essay contest. The floor is yours, Dr. Martin.
Hello and welcome. My name is Dr. Diane Martin and I'm the chair of the essay committee as a MLK commissioner. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a champion of justice for all. He stated, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." That quote resonated with our essay writers as well as this one. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Their essays centered around a time when I took a stand against injustice. The essay committee had a difficult time of selecting essay winners from a host of entries throughout the school district. I say difficult because we had many entries that met the criteria. Each of them did a stupendous job of sharing their experiences of how they stood up to injustices and specifically how they verbally took a stand against injustice. Each essay writer in different ways shared that you must not be afraid to take a stand against injustice, but they should fight figuratively. Fight with words, with their writing, and with them giving reports to adults when they witness an injustice. We were truly impressed with how they cited examples of this taking place in their schools and in our world today. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. played a very important role in progressing civil rights, and also he won a Nobel Peace Prize as a result of his efforts in fighting against racial inequality. Our essay winners reflected on their lives, researched the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and I am proud to introduce them to you this afternoon and share an excerpt from each of their essays. From high school, our third place winner of the essay contest is Karina Tarhan from Reservoir High School. Karina shared how she stood up for injustices, and she also stated that the tragic killing of George Floyd was one of the rude awakenings of 2020, as well as the unspeakable horrors occurring in Uyghur Muslims. Karina will receive an award plus a check in the amount of $125. The second place winner of the essay contest is Myra Shah from Howard High School. Myra stated, "There's no such thing as girl things and boy things." She has always believed that women's rights and gender equality are very important and has participated in Sister March, Black Lives Matter rallies, and protests to prove her stance for justice for all and the need for unity. Myra will receive an award plus a check in the amount of $150. The first place winner of the essay contest is from Centennial High School. Her name is Rebecca Donovan. Rebecca shared an athlete story of how she took a stand and how she dealt with teasing and isolation that was displayed to another athlete. And she shared its impact on the players and others. Impressive. Rebecca will receive an award plus a check in the amount of $200. And now the winner from middle school. The third place winner of the essay contest is Teresa Cherian from Bonnie Branch Middle School. Teresa stated that Dr. King's legacy has caused changes that still affect the present, such as his goal of achieving equal rights for all through nonviolent protests. Teresa stood face to face to oppressors who teased based on race and background. Not only did she speak to the student, but she went to tell an adult. We had a tie for third place on the middle school level. The second third place winner is Brianna Eggleston from Harper's Choice Middle School. Brianna shared that no one should ever feel like they have to be a certain color or feel like they have to be a certain weight or gender for them not to be discriminated against. Brianna says, "I will tell them that's disrespectful." The second place winner of the essay contest goes to Sarah K.C. from Harper's Choice Middle School. Sarah stated that Dr. King spoke out against racial inequality, but it is still happening today. His legacy has caused changes that still affect the present through such as his goal of achieving equal rights for all through nonviolent protests. Impressive to us is that Sarah sees her participation in unheard perspectives as a way to learn more about innovators in history whose perspectives were underrepresented. She never tires of Dr. King's speech, "I Have a Dream," which remains one of the most famous speeches in history to this day. Our first place winner of the essay contest goes to Jordan A. Bennett from Lake Elkhorn Middle School. Our first place essay winner has created a website called the Black Library, which contains 41 unheard stories of African Americans who made and continue to make a revolutionary change. She hopes the stories will inspire and encourage young people with their dreams and bring positivity to everyone during uncertain times. I present to you the first place winner of the essay contest, Ms. Jordan A. Bennett.
I'm Jordan Bennett. I'm 13 years old and I go to Lake Elkhorn Middle School. This is my Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. essay. What is injustice? Merriam-Webster describes injustice as the absence of justice, a violation of one's rights, unfairness. To me, injustice is when a decision is made by a person in power that violates the basic human rights or mentally affects someone or a group of people negatively. Slavery was unjust. Segregation was unjust. Voter suppression is unjust. The killings of Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, and Breonna Taylor were unjust. The lack of immediate action following these devastating events was unjust. Following the series of racial injustices that have been occurring on a national level, I took action. I began to create a website called the Black Library. This website contains 41 unheard stories of African Americans who made and continue to make a revolutionary change. The purpose of this website is to shine light on the Black community during times that are difficult for everyone. I'm extremely excited about the completion of the Black Library. Though I cannot be sure of the impact it will have, I hope it will encourage and inspire young people with big dreams and bring positivity to everyone during uncertain times. Some people may question the difference that writing can make, but I know the difference writing can make because of the difference Amiri Baraka, Daisy Bates, Alice Allison Dunnigan, Frances Harper, Ida B. Wells, and Carter G. Woodson made. The injustices I just referred to and stood up against happened on a national level. But injustice can happen right in your community. Many people may not see it this way, but I believe that the Howard County grading policy for elementary school students is unjust. In every class, students are graded on their effort. This is based on their task completion, class participation, quality of their work, and timely submission of homework and classwork. The issue with this is effort is something that can change based on your circumstances and what you're going through personally, emotionally, and mentally. There's no way to know how much effort someone is truly putting in. When someone is truly trying their best and they receive an effort grade that is subpar, it can be discouraging. I brought this concern to my former elementary school in perfect timing for their Act for GES program, which encourages change in the school. The principal invited me to some of their meetings that were otherwise only for adults. There, I will have an opportunity to share my ideas and make change, hopefully on a county-wide level, because I would have spoken my truth and voiced my opinions. Like the Black Library, this is a change that is in the process of occurring, but I believe in the potential impact that will be the outcome of me speaking my mind and standing against what I believe is unjust. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends." Through my actions against injustice, I'm not only discrediting the words and actions of my enemies, but I'm empowering the voices of my friends. I truly hope that I can continue to act against injustices, just as Dr. King did. Thank you.
All essay winners will be featured in Hope Works publication named Cultivate. Winners' names will be listed on the MLK Holiday Commission website and other county government publications and social media posts, as well as included in the MLK Holiday Celebration video. Congratulations to all our winners for your hard work, for sharing your thoughts, and doing what you can on a daily basis to keep Dr. King's dream alive by standing up in a peaceful manner against injustices. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Martin. It is so nice to see you. And thank you to our essay winners. Now we will have a rap by Mr. Marcus Nix, entitled The Power of Love. Mr. Nix is a Black Student Achievement Liaison with Howard County Public School System, a community leader and mentor.
Love is an action word that showed love to brothers selling drugs on the curb. Love between men and women build communities. That's the foundation of unity. We have to show love for our babies, mothers, daughters, women, the ladies. Real men protect and provide for their families and are not lazy. The key to wealth is good health. Good health starts with loving yourself. If you don't love yourself, how are you going to love someone else? Love or money can end up making you greedy. Never forget about the needy. Love everything God has created. That's the universal law of nature. And you'll get love in return. These are the lessons that we all must learn. Love will make a crack fiend put down the pipe. Love will make a pastor treat his congregation right. Love will make us stop feeding our bodies junk. Love will make young men pull their pants up. True love is unconditional. Giving love should always be intentional. Let's give love to all the single mothers who suffered emotional pain from other brothers. It's due to lack of love why so many people suffer. There's no substitute for loving one another. Love's a primary substance, so we can experience joy in abundance. Love can give you good self-esteem, and every day I realize King's dream. And I love all of y'all. Together we rise, divided we fall. The power of love. Let's make it happen.
Thank you, Mr. Nix, for that cool rap about the power of love. I'm really feeling that. Commissioner Daniel Naran, the chairman of Dr. Martin Luther King Oratory Contest, will now introduce the Oratory Contest winners.
Hello, my name is Daniel Naran. On behalf of the MLK Commission, I'm the chairman of the Oratory Contest. The Oratory Contest is going through its first year, and we are very proud to have all of the contestants that have been a part of it. The Oratory Contest is a message from Martin Luther King to young students in middle school and high school, and how it has affected them in their daily life in school and outside of school. Each middle school and high school student performed a speech talking about their experience and what Dr. King's speech meant to them. I would like to introduce the first place winner in the high school contest. Brian Hedrebrew, a 12th grader from Wild Lake High School, discussed his courageous effort to stick up for friends and fellow students. He talked on how Martin Luther King has set a pathway and guidance for individuals and to stand up for others for what is right. Congratulations.
Hello to everyone watching. My name is Brian Ehajerobi, and I'm a senior at Wild Lake High School. Today, I would like to share some of my experiences with injustice. What does your own moral compass look like? What steps do you take in order to measure the difference between something that is good and something that is inherently evil? You see, depending on the person that we're asking, the answer that you receive can vary. As human beings, we are constantly being shaped into unique individuals based on our experiences, our environment, and our upbringing. So we cannot indulge in the conversation of injustice without first touching base on morality, the very catalyst which allows us to determine what we perceive as injustice. Unfortunately, social injustice runs rampant in this world. It ranges from issues such as racism and abuse to even things like bullying. As a matter of fact, not too long ago, I found myself in a situation where I was witnessing this social injustice in a school setting. I was in a friend group, and there was one person in particular who was a little bit on the heavier side compared to the rest of us. On a daily basis, some of the friends would berate him with jokes about his weight and his appearance. I wouldn't laugh, but I would keep quiet because it's only a joke, right? The way that the comments were so casually made me feel as if I would be overreacting if I responded to them. But one day when this was occurring, something snapped inside of me. I became assertive and I told them, "This isn't funny. Please stop." That was all it took. No one said a word. It was quiet for a good 10 seconds. But from that point onwards, not a single comment was made about that person's weight. You might be thinking, well, that's it? There has to be more. And you would be right, but not necessarily in terms of the situation, but what you can take from it. All I had to do was use my voice. Standing idle while my friend was enduring verbal blows interfered with my moral compass, so I intervened and attempted to put a stop to it. I felt as though it were crucial for me to speak up because I wanted change, and it was not going to come without assertion. From that point on, I made sure to utilize this aspect of myself and reverse injustice in the encounters that I'm in. It is important to not only remind ourselves of the morals that connect us as humans, but to also defend them with conviction. Your voice can be used to positively influence others and change the tide of a bad interaction. As insignificant as we may feel on such a large planet, we are all parts that form a greater whole. You may have to scream, you may have to yell, and you may have to shout, but your voice matters. Thank you.
Our second place winner from Wild Lake High School in 10th grade is Samya Miles. Samya talked on her middle school experience and wanted to share her voice. Within this, she started an assembly that is on injustice and topics that we deal with every day. Till this day, that assembly has gone on even when she is in high school.
Why should we care about injustice? No, really, why? From the moment we are introduced to society as kids and young adults, we are taught that life isn't fair. So if we know that life is innately unfair, why should we try to combat that? It is what it is. It's impossible to fix, correct? Wrong. Everything that is now possible was once deemed impossible. I'm sure that if you go back to the Renaissance era and ask people if they think that one day somebody will be able to walk on the moon, they would think that is a crazy thought. But fast forward to July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong did just that. He walked on the moon and said his famous words, "One small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind." Something that was once deemed too hard, too challenging, too impossible became doable. This principle of doing the challenging and the impossible is exactly what standing up against injustice is all about. To speak about injustice, we must first define it. Injustice is a violation of the rights of another, or unfairness. When I was younger, I used to see in the news and in school people being treated so wrong, so unfairly, but I thought that it was none of my business, and that there was nothing I could do, and it was all above me. This was my mindset for a while, until I got to 8th grade at Harper's Choice Middle School. February 2019, I got called into the BSAP liaison's office, and she asked me, "What do you think we should do to celebrate Black History Month?" After thinking about it for a while, I said, "An assembly." I took this opportunity as a chance, in my own way, to take a stand against the racial injustices that were happening in America and still happening in America at the time. I felt as though, in order to celebrate Black history, we must acknowledge the hardships that Black people have gone through, and by doing so and educating people, it would be a way of taking a stand against injustice, and that is exactly what I did. With the help of the BSAP liaison and other students, we planned a school-wide assembly which included various forms of not only celebrating Black culture through music and poems, but also acknowledging the hardships and issues that the community faces by reading the names and telling the stories of those who were brutally murdered for the color of their skin. As a result of this assembly, not only were much needed conversations sparked all throughout the school, but it also educated people, and education is elevation. The impact of this assembly was much greater than I ever imagined that it would be. A year later, in February 2020, when I was a freshman at Wild Lake High School, I found out that the middle school decided to keep the assembly idea going and turn it into an annual event. This all goes to show that no matter how daunting standing up against injustice may seem, or how little that you think your actions matter, it is not only possible but can have a lasting impact. So I leave you with this final thought. Words can be deadly, but silence can be deadlier. Thank you for your time. Samaya Miles.
Now, for our middle school contest, Ajala Kanal, an 8th grader from Oakland Mills Middle School, has won first place. Ajala Kanal discussed her bravery about her early youth in Nepal and how she stopped an abduction with her courage and her voice. Her words, "When you are silenced, it is bad, but when you are silenced with your friends, it is worse."
In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. This is what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said during one of his speeches in 1965. This quote means that even if our enemies say things that might hurt, seeing our friend not supporting or standing up for us is one of the most painful things that will be remembered forever. The lesson learned is that you should stand up for people. I'm pretty sure you know that already, but have you ever actually stood up for someone? Well, I, for one, have. A few years ago, I went to Nepal to visit both of my grandparents in the summer between 5th and 6th grade. Nepal is a small country between India and China, and it's full of life and culture. One day, I was at my cousin's school waiting for her to come out so we can head home. I heard the bell ring and children were coming out. There was this little boy waiting for his parents to come pick him up. A few minutes later, a man came up to the little boy and told him to come with him because apparently he was his dad's friend, and he told him to go pick the little boy up. The little boy fell for it and he took the man's hand. Coming from America, I knew that this was a typical sentence that kidnappers would use a lot, so I pulled them apart as fast as I could and asked the little boy's name and how old he was. His name was Amir, and he was 4 years old. Considering the fact that he was only 4, I knew he didn't know much about stranger danger yet. So I asked him if he knew this man, and he said, "No, I don't know him, but he is my father's friend, so I might as well go with him." As soon as he said that, I started to make a scene by yelling for help. People started coming and asked what was wrong, and I told them about how this man was trying to kidnap Amir. Before I knew it, they started chasing him down the street and more people joined them. After he was gone, I told Amir to never go anywhere with someone you don't know. I told him that next time something like this happens, immediately run and tell an adult, or create a scene to attract lots of people so that the kidnapper will run away from the attention. He said, "Thank you, Didi." Didi means sister in Nepali. I smiled and stayed with him until his mom came. When his mom showed up, she was in tears with the police behind her, holding the same man who took Amir earlier. So she thanked me for saving her son before something bad happened. Later that night on the news, the reporters were saying that Nepal's most wanted criminal had been found and sent to jail. They said that he was trying to abduct a little boy this afternoon, but he had failed in doing so. I was happy that Amir was home, safe and sound with his parents.
Next, I would like to congratulate Jaden Augustine, a 7th grader for Mount View Middle, for 2nd place. Jaden spoke how as a young student went with mom down to DC for protests for Black Lives Matter and Breonna Taylor, and how this impact can be related with not only Jaden, but fellow students and people in the community.
There are many problems going on in our country today, such as coronavirus and racial injustices. When I heard about what happened to George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, I asked myself, how could this happen? How could the people who were supposed to protect and serve us do this? I knew these sort of things happened before, but has nothing changed over the past years? Are we still mistreated because of the color of our skin? I was confused, upset, angry, and hurt. I knew these things should not happen, but they did. I knew that George Floyd and Breonna Taylor needed the justice that they deserved. I heard about the protests on the news. At first, I was scared. I wanted to protest because I knew it was a good way to act in a situation like this, but we are in a global pandemic. Many people are dying due to coronavirus, and I did not know how I could protest if I also needed to be safe and stay at home. I also heard about how few protests became violent or problematic. I was scared about that too. I was worried that I might be in danger if I go to a protest. Then again, you should never be scared to march with people and make a change, make a difference. You should never be scared to let people hear your voice even if they disagree with you. I mean, look at Martin Luther King Jr. He didn't care if people disagreed with him. He thought what was going on at the time was unfair and needed to change. So I decided to follow his example. I went to a protest in Washington, D.C. with my mom. We marched by the monument, we walked past the reflecting pool, and I was able to see the statue of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. As we marched, we chanted, "No justice, no peace. Black Lives Matter. Say her name, Breonna Taylor. Say his name, George Floyd." Saying these statements made me feel stronger and made me feel like no one could stop me from projecting my voice. I felt like I was taking a stand against injustice. If there is a problem going on, whether it is a small one or not, act. Act or else it will never be solved. Act or else it will never be changed. Act or else you will never be heard. Looking at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. reminded me of how strong a leader he was and how he made a change. Change starts with you and me. It took Martin Luther King Jr. and so many others to create change. If you want to make a difference, do it. Although the protest I participated in was small and may have not had much of an impact, I felt like I made a difference and did the right thing by just being there and using my voice to speak out. I believe that it is important to speak out rather than staying silent, because if you stay silent, people may think you agree with what is going on even if you do not. To show that you care, you should speak out to take a stand and try to change things. People may forget what others did, but tend to remember what their friends didn't do in their time of need. Like Martin Luther King Jr. said, in the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends.
We are very proud to have all of our contestants. Congratulations to all of you, and thank you very much.
Congratulations to our oratory contest winners. Our next presentation will be by violinist Corliss Britt. Corliss is a graduate of Howard High School. She holds bachelor's degrees, yes, let me repeat that, bachelor's degrees in chemistry and music from Bucknell University. She is currently pursuing a master's degree in biochemistry from Virginia Tech as a Carver Scholar. Thank you, Corliss. That was amazing. We will now hear from Commissioners Bert Hash, Chairman of the Day of Service, Kurt Wall, Chairman of Logistics, and Bonnie Sorek regarding the Day of Service activities for this year.
My name is Bert Hash. I am the Vice Chair of the Martin Luther King Commission and the Chair of the Day of Service Committee. And joining me today will be the Vice Chair of the committee, Kurt Wall, and committee member Bonnie Sorek, as we talk about the Day of Service. Martin Luther King said, and I quote, "The most urgent and persistent question is, what are you doing for others?" The most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? As we prepared for the Martin Luther King Day of Service in 2021, we discussed months ago that the Day of Service is every day. The need is that great. We decided in the fall to reach out and participate with other organizations in their efforts to help the communities of Howard County. Since that time, members of the Commission have volunteered with the following organizations: Community Organization Active in Disaster, called COED. We helped them with serving over 500 families during this time. The Indian Culture Association of Howard County, over 2,000 families that have been served. And on a weekly basis with Crater Rock Elementary and Elkhorn Elementary families, we have served 10 families, so over 100 families during that period of time. The partnership between the Harriet Tubman Foundation of Maryland and the Martin Luther King Commission created a pop-up pantry on December the 18th for 250 families. I will turn you over to Kurt Wall, who will talk about what we will be doing in 2021.
Good afternoon. My name is Kurt Wall, and I'm here to discuss a little more detail in what we'll be doing for the day of service, the weekend of January 16th, 2021. We have made several collaborations with organizations to help us make this event successful. We have made a partnership with the Indian Cultural Association, where we will have a pop-up food pantry to serve 500 families at the Miller's Library, which is located at 9421 Frederick Road in Ellicott City. Then the times will be 10 to about 1 p.m. Our second partnership will be with the Harriet Tubman Foundation. We have a food pantry that will serve approximately 350 families at the Ridgely Run Community Center, which is located at 8400 Mission Road in Jessup, Maryland. And we also have solicited the help of our Greek fraternities and sororities and the Jewish Federation to man 10 grocery stores in Howard County for food contribution to the Howard County Food Bank. And volunteers are still needed. Thank you.
Hello, I am Bonnie Sorak. I'm here to give you the information about our virtual activities and programs that will happen on the day of service. To start with, HopeWorks will be offering the I Can, I Will Create Peace virtual workshop. The Martin Luther King Jr. Holiday Commission and the Baltimore Regional Housing Partnership will be offering financial literacy presentation, Building and Maintaining Good Credit. HopeWorks will also offer the MLK Day listening session for teens. The Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Iota Lambda Omega chapter will offer the MLK Community Impact Day, Building Your Economic Literacy Workshop. The Jewish Community Relations Council of the Jewish Federation of Howard County and the Columbia Jewish Congregation are offering Unbreathable, The Fight for Healthy Air, which is an environmental justice movie and panel discussion. And the Onyx Medical Society will offer a rapid-fire succession of separate 5-minute back-to-back talks, followed by a panel discussion on disparities in healthcare. Information and details on all of these events will be hosted on our website. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. I'm going to have a hard time deciding what I want to participate in tomorrow. Hunter Craig is coming up to announce the high school food drive winner. This is going to be interesting.
Hi, my name is Hunter Craig, and I am the chair of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Food Drive Competition. This year, we had 6 Howard County high schools participate in our food drive competition. Various clubs representing their school were eager to spearhead their school's food drive. Each club showed much enthusiasm even in the midst of COVID-19. Some schools collaborated with multiple clubs and demonstrated teamwork and leadership during unprecedented crises, something Dr. King would have dreamed of. All donations we received went to the Howard County Food Bank. Before I announce the winner, I'd like to thank the following schools for their participation: Glenelg, Atholton, Centennial, Howard, Reservoir, and Wild Lake High School. The school that raised the most amount of food was Wild Lake High School.
Congratulations to all of our high schools and their commitment to helping families in need of food. Commissioner Brett Vess will now join us to announce the winners of the elementary school poster contest.
My name is Brett Vess. The elementary school poster contest was created to allow young residents to contribute their artwork and opinions on the work of Dr. King. This year's theme is the quote, "In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends." The poster contest winners are: first place, Neil Deepak, Ilchester Elementary School. Second place, Dahlia Kintish, Thunderhill Elementary School. Third place, Nika Guth, Beaumont Bridge Elementary School.
Thank you, Mr. Vest, and congratulations to the poster contest winners. Our next performance will be by multi-talented Kyra Britt. Kyra is a graduate of Howard High School and is currently a freshman at Elon University studying music and theater.
Hi, my name is Kyra Britt, and I will be singing The Light That Never Fails by Andra Day. When the cold bites your bones and gets in your heart, it can make you feel hopeless, and fear will come to steal your sun and make it dark. But don't believe you're lonely. We all have that moment when our head hangs low. We question if we should go or turn back and run. But we're not born to chase the fading light. We're not born to fall and lose the fight. Never letting go. Oh no. I'm asking you to lift me higher than I've ever been. Hold your breath and say you're gonna come with me. We were born to follow the light that never fails. You're scared to climb, you're scared to fight, afraid to die. But I can be your courage and help you see that you've already won this. We all have that moment when our shoulders sink and we sit back and think we should just run. But we're not born to chase the fading light. We're not born to fall and lose the fight. Never letting go. Oh no. I'm asking you to lift me higher than I've ever been. Hold me close and say you're gonna come with me. We were born to follow the light that never fails. Come along, we're setting sail. Never looking back again. We're not born to chase the fading light. We're not born to fall and lose the fight. Never letting go. Oh no. I'm asking you to lift me higher than I've ever been. Hold your breath and say you're gonna come with me. We were born to follow the light that never fails. The light that never fails. We were born to follow the light that never, the light that never fails. Thank you.
Wow, Kyra, that was outstanding. We will now have a poem by Tiffany Smith from the Homewood Center.
This is a poem that I wrote about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Peaceful justice fighter, you gave a voice to oppressed people. Speaker of nonviolent change, equal rights, equitable treatment for all human beings. Standing firm in what you knew was right, calmly and bravely taking it, even when physically beaten, jailed, attacked, and threatened. Always showing love, even to those who hated you. Patient yet persistent in your battle for America to implement its founding promises. Working relentlessly to put an end to racial hatred and discrimination. Having a dream that you were willing to die for. A dream of a world where all people would have basic human rights and not judge each other on the color of their skin. Activist, leader, organizer, setting an example for others in years to come.
Tiffany, thank you so much for that heartfelt poem that speaks Dr. King's commitment to peaceful fighting for justice. We will now hear from Commissioner Yetta Rogerson, the chairman of the Living Dream Award.
Good afternoon. My name is Yetta Rogerson, chairwoman of the Martin Luther King Jr. Commission Living the Dream Committee. Today, I am here to present two awards, one to an individual and the other to an organization. Our winners are ordinary citizens and individuals doing extraordinary things in our community. They share a passion of service to the community and inclusion. The Living the Dream Individual Award will be presented to Ani Begay Ald. Ani established Nava B. Dene to showcase Native artwork and stories. Her company's evolution continues in response to the developing educational, social, and human rights needs of Native Americans. Through her work, she has increased awareness of Native cultures that reside in Howard County. She also allows them to be proud of the heritage that they may share with others. The Organization Award will be presented to the National Pan-Hellenic Council of Howard County. The Pan-Hellenic Council is a collaborative umbrella organization comprised of 9 African-American Greek-lettered fraternities and sororities. The purpose of the organization is camaraderie and academic excellence for its members and service to the communities they serve. The National Pan-Hellenic Council has had a significant impact on the community through its community service activities. Its annual toy drive and holiday food assistance provides toys and foods to families that would otherwise go without. Their annual Black History Expo provides the Howard County community with a historically accurate cultural event that is fun and informative. The Food Election Initiative at local grocery stores helps to rebuild the Howard County Food Bank, resources that are heavily depleted during the Thanksgiving and Christmas season. These individuals and the organization are worthy of our praise. They will each receive $300 and a certificate from the Martin Luther King Jr. Commission. Would the recipients please stay on stage for a message from Congressman John Sarbanes.
Greetings, everyone. This is Congressman John Sarbanes. It's an honor for me to join with the Howard County Martin Luther King Holiday Commission for this recognition of those who are serving the community and are deserving of the Living the Dream Awards. As you know, Dr. King put a very high premium on service to the community. He understood that this was the highest and best use of our talents and skills, to lift up those around us. In fact, one of my favorite quotations from Dr. King is when he said, "Everybody can be great because anybody can serve. All you need is a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love." In this moment in our country, it is so critical to have people that are reaching out, building that connective tissue that keeps us together, that binds us together, that builds respect and tolerance and can help bridge these difficult divisions that we see in our country. And so it's wonderful to be able to recognize an individual this evening and an organization that are making a difference. Annie Bagay Alda has contributed to the community in some wonderful ways. I just want to read a little bit about Annie as I congratulate her for the Living the Dream Award. Annie's a community organizer who has worked tirelessly to provide education and increase awareness around Native cultures. She established a landmark organization to showcase Native artwork and stories, and before that she spent several years providing educational content on Navajo and Native American heritage for young children. So that's a pretty good contribution, Annie, and I want to thank you for that. The other Living the Dream Award goes to an organization. This is the National Pan-Hellenic Council of Howard County, which participates in numerous community service activities that help and benefit local communities. Among them are an annual toy drive, participation in the March of Dimes walk, to raise money to help decrease infant and mother mortality rates, and then work to just make sure that families have Thanksgiving meals on that very important holiday. In addition, the council was very critical in bringing the Black History Fair back to Howard County, and for the last 6 years to have participated in the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Holiday Commission's Day of Service. Thank you for that, where you collect food for the Howard County Food Bank. It's hard to imagine two awardees more deserving than Annie and the Pan-Hellenic Council of Howard County. I want to thank you for your outstanding service, and I want to thank the Howard County Martin Luther King Holiday Commission for recognizing that service, because it's important for the rest of us to know the contributions that are being made. Please keep up this great work. It makes a difference for our county, for our state, for our country. It helps bring people together. Congratulations.
Congratulations to all of our winners. Our next performers will be performing a cultural dance from the Indian Cultural Association.
that hot girl by my anthem. Turn it up and throw attention. क्या करने हैं उम्रों के वादे, ये जो रहते हैं रहने दे। सुबह तक मांग के मेरी बात तू ऐसे जोर से ना दी आज ये घुंघरू टूट गए ये घुंघरू टूट गए
थोड़े से सारे शर्म और लाज ऐसे जोर से ना जी आज ये घुंघरू टूट गए ये घुंघरू
It's that hot girl by my anthem, turn it up and throw attention. It's that hot girl by my anthem, turn it up and throw attention. This that hot girl by my anthem, turn it up and throw attention. This that throw up in your Birkin bag, hook up with someone random. This that social awkward suicide that buy your lips and buy your likes. I swear she had a man, but shit hit different when it's Thursday night. That college dropout music, every day like that shit be too thick. And my friends are all annoying, but we go dumb, yeah, we go stupid. This the 10K on the table just so we can be secluded. It's that hot girl by my anthem, turn it up and throw attention.
Thank you for that beautiful performance. I would like to introduce Mrs. Yolanda Saunier, Administrator of the Howard County Office of Human Rights and Equity.
Good afternoon. I'm Yolanda Saunier, the Administrator for the Office of Human Rights and Equity here in Howard County. I hope everyone has enjoyed the program thus far. I know I have. I am extremely filled with joy at the occasion and that everyone felt it was important to participate today to celebrate Dr. King's legacy. At this point, I want to stop and thank a number of people. A big thank you to our County Executive, Calvin Ball, for his leadership. Also, a thank you to the County Chief Administrative Officer, Lonnie Robbins, and all the leadership that he provides to the county. And thank you also to all of our public officials for showing your support. At this time, I also want to say a big thank you to our wonderful Master of Ceremonies, Aaliyah Evans. She did an awesome job today. I also want to thank Heidi Tilkins, the recording secretary for the Martin Luther King Holiday Commission. She has been supporting the commission and working hard on this event. I also want to say thank you to the staff of the Office of Human Rights. I would be remiss to say that the Martin Luther King Holiday Commission commissioners have put an extraordinary amount of time in making sure that this program continued. I want to express my deepest gratitude to them. They meet and they work on today's event and the day of service throughout the year. They unselfishly serve our community, sometimes without it being told thank you. So I stand here today to let them know we appreciate them and everything they do to keep Dr. King's vision and legacy alive. I also want to thank our chair of the commission, Tracy Williams, and our vice chair, Bert Hash, for ensuring everything keeps moving and that all the programming is appropriate for everyone. The theme for this year's celebration, which is also Dr. King's quote, "In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends." This is a very profound quote and is as relevant today as it was when Dr. King first made that statement. The commission, interestingly enough, chose the theme prior to the COVID pandemic and then the social unrest and protests. The commission did not know at the time how relevant Dr. King's quote would be in 2020. 2020 was the year where we saw neighbors standing with individuals being targeted because of the coronavirus. The killings of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery. Members of our Black and brown communities standing together to fight police brutality and social injustices. What we also saw, though, were members of other races and communities standing in unity. You saw the protests showing people were no longer willing to stand silent. As Dr. King said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. I am encouraged in seeing all of the student essays, posters, and oratory submissions. I'm encouraged because I know that these young people are our future. I believe that they will not stand in silence to the continued injustices that continue to occur. The Office of Human Rights and Equity is a resource for all that feel they have been subjected to discrimination. The office also does trainings, workshops, and facilitations to work towards eradicating discrimination here in Howard County. I encourage everyone to make a commitment today to fight against injustices you see throughout your community and every community. Once you make that commitment, believe me, you will see the difference. And before I conclude, as I was saying thank yous, I must say I want to thank Dr. King because we all stand on his legacy. We live in a world that would be different than we know if he did not stand up and make a sacrifice to make this world a better place. Thank you again for participating today. Thank you to all of our participants, our performers, and all of our students who took the time to feel Dr. King's legacy was worthy of them making submissions. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Mrs. Saunier. Now, I would like to perform a spoken word about Dr. King. Martin Luther King had an American dream. Black and white folks on the same team, not separate but equal, rather instead together, a nation with freedom widespread. For tolerance in all races and creeds, his speeches and marches planted the seeds. For a movement calling for civil rights, advocating through nonviolent fights. Against injustice wherever it streamed, Martin Luther King had an American dream. Please join me in welcoming 11-year-old Maya Haynes, who will be singing We Shall Overcome. Maya is a J&J gavel speaking champion, has a black belt in karate, and is a beginning violinist. She also has a cooking show on YouTube called Chef Maya's Everything's Good.
Hi, my name is Maya Haynes. I am in 6th grade, and today I will be singing in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. All deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand someday. All deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. We shall all be free. We shall all be free. We shall all be free someday. All deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday.
Thank you, Maya. You're an amazing little lady. Thank you all for joining us for the celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his dream for a loving and unified world for all. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow at one of our Day of Services activities. Goodbye.